In the dead of night, three super sexy women climb into bed. Doc, half asleep, senses the movement. He opens his eyes and immediately feels his mouth go dry, his tongue parched. This was blatant seduction, no bones about it, but he quickly regains his composure. Pies don't just fall from the sky, and besides, Addie was still waiting for him to bring help.
Pickled in a jar? Then again, it's the apocalypse.
In the end, Doc, adopting a live-for-the-moment attitude, gave in. After an unforgettable night, it wasn't until 8 a.m. that Doc woke up. Looking at the scene before him, he instantly regretted not holding his ground the night before. Well, might as well chalk it up to one night of indulgence. His top priority now was to contact Citizen Z using the radio. He tried to grab his clothes but was pinned down by Linda. Trying to forcefully take his clothes would surely wake them, leaving Doc no choice but to slip into Sarah's sexy nightgown by the bed. A few steps in, Doc felt dizzy, so he scooped up some water from a basin to wash his face. Reflecting on everything that had happened, it all seemed so surreal. The cold water helped Doc snap back to reality, but as he put down the towel, he noticed something at the bottom of the basin. Upon closer inspection, cold sweat dripped down his spine. It was a human hand. Suddenly, the radio he brought with him started broadcasting a message from the Arctic station, in Kaya's voice, the same one they had heard before. Doc didn't waste time dwelling on the severed hand and rushed to the radio room as fast as he could.
Hi, this is Doc, you copy?
He thought contacting the other side would be easy, but no matter how Doc replied, it was as if they couldn't hear him. Maybe the machine was broken? After checking, Doc found the wire was cut. Suddenly, the door was pushed open.
I wish you hadn't seen that.
Doc ran for his life, now fully aware that the three women were behind all this, putting together the severed hand he saw earlier. If he got caught, the outcome wouldn't be good. Regrettably, Doc, unfamiliar with the layout of the castle, had no choice but to dart around blindly, almost running into the area where the zombies were kept.
Where are you, Dr. John?
Behind him, Linda laughed unrestrainedly, seemingly enjoying the cat and mouse chase. Doc zigzagged into a collection room, hoping to find a hiding spot, but instead found something that wasn't there yesterday: a row of human heads, and the lamp next to it looked peculiar under the light, with stitches visible. It's not human skin, is it? The thought stuck in Doc's mind. Unable to be dismissed, the sofa in front of him was made of the same material. Doc touched it, confirming it was indeed human skin. Then, Doc remembered eating something that tasted like meat the day before. It couldn't have been human flesh, could it? Without time to feel nauseated, Doc hurried to the basement, the woman's footsteps closing in. The basement was large, and it took Doc a while to stop. It seemed the woman hadn't followed. How come there was a zombie here? Fortunately, it was firmly chained. Doc hadn't recovered from the shock when he saw three men imprisoned behind him. The first man was handcuffed to a bench, and some of the skin on his back had been peeled off. So, that's where the sofa and lampshade material came from. The second was a long-haired man, behind whom was a loom, providing a continuous supply of hair strands as long as he lived. The third man was even more pitiful, with marijuana planted on his head, his body clearly used as fertilizer. Doc looked at the sleeve of his clothes, trailing black threads. Could it be hair? Those three women were nothing short of demons.
Help us! Who are you guys? Who are you? 10 minutes from now! Help us! I got you, brother.
Being kind-hearted, Doc didn't hesitate to pick up a shovel next to him and smash the handcuffs.
Run.
With clever maneuvers, Doc made it back to the ground level, only to find the three women had been waiting for a long time, no longer hiding their malevolent nature. Doc, in a stroke of insight, thought of a strategy.
Dazzler 3000.
Please, stop! I would expect this from them. But you? You and me, I thought we had something special.
Aw, he thinks he can pit us against each other.
Adorable. Very.
Pain is a beautiful thing!
Doc got angry. So, it turns out that's how the zombies got those gems on them. Upon seeing Doc dare to resist, Linda charged at him with a kitchen knife. Gone was her gentle and frail demeanor of yesterday. Just as Doc braced for the worst, those three men broke free from the basement and charged out. Upon seeing their foes, they pounced directly on them, but given their long suffering and weakened state, they were no match for the three vicious women. It was only a matter of time before they would be killed. Seizing the opportunity, Doc was about to make his escape, but upon opening the door, he was met with the sight of pet zombies outside. He knocked on the feeding bowl and then quickly hid to the side. This should buy him a little time from the three women, right? Now with ample time to escape, Doc chose not to and instead dashed back to the radio room, then firmly locked the door with a chain. In Doc's heart, the mission surpassed his own life and death. He had to contact Citizen Z to notify Roberta to come rescue Lucy, and Citizen Z was online at just the right moment. Since the power was restored at the Arctic station, he and Kaya had been trying to contact Team X, but there had been no response for so long. Perhaps, as he feared, they had all been killed by his own incorrect information. 2 minutes later, Doc finally fixed the line. Success now hinged on this single effort.
Addie and I are in pursuit. I'll contact you as soon as I know more.
Open the door!
She's headed to Spokane to stop Murphy. But this changes everything.
Come on, Doc. We're all friends here.
Contact Warren. Tell her about Lucy. She's the only one that can stop the man.
Copy you. Doc, where is Lucy?
I'm getting angry.
Doc, are you okay?
The three women outside were also losing patience. Linda directly picked up a long knife and chopped through the chain, but upon entering, they found Doc had vanished, clearly having climbed up the signal tower. Now, they were in no rush, instead preparing snacks and tea in the courtyard, quietly waiting for Doc to give in and come down himself. Maybe Doc would even beg them, making the game even more fun. Doc was in utter despair, climbing higher and higher, not daring to look down, but then he thought, even if he died from a fall or starved, it was still better than falling into the hands of those three demons.
Come down from there, you naughty boy.
He looks like a cat stuck up in a tree, doesn't he?
Leave me alone. I'll die up here if I have to.
Oh, don't be silly. Nobody's dying. Not on my watch.
Yeah, you just want to keep me alive so you can grow weed in my ass and make a cozy robe out of my beard. Well, no thank you, lady. I like my skin wrapped around my bones right where it belongs.
So dramatic.
We'll see about that.
Looking at the zombies, could today really be his end? But just then Doc suddenly looked up and saw the scene outside. Suddenly the law of hooks and strands that he had learned came to his mind. If the pole collapsed along the fence just enough to throw him out. After thinking it through, Doc immediately kicked at the steel cable securing the tower. 1 kick, 2 kicks, 5 kicks, 10 kicks, until the cable finally snapped, but the signal tower itself was still sturdy. He had to use the momentum of his body to sway it. Doc managed to jump off as the signal tower fell, using the momentum to avoid injury. Of course, I'm just spinning a yarn. Anyway, Doc escaped. He didn't want to stay there for another minute. The three women didn't go after Doc. They didn't really want a human being. They wanted to enjoy the process. Sarah found Doc's beard, which was just the thing to put in the collection, wondering who the next man to come here would be. Doc ran through the woods for a long time, his legs scraped by weeds and branches because he wasn't wearing pants, and he had no choice. Just then, God sent him a gift. There was a bicycle in front of him. Apparently, someone had been trapped by a tree before their death. So, Doc got on the bicycle. He was going to chase after Addie, hoping Addie had already rescued Lucy.
I'm coming, Addie!
Meanwhile, at the Arctic station, Citizen Z was anxious upon hearing the news of Lucy's kidnapping. He called Roberta countless times but got no response. Fortunately, Kaya had some good news. She had intercepted an encrypted channel. After decoding, it seemed a man was bringing a child, looking for someone to meet. Citizen Z got excited. This must be the man contacting Zona, indicating that Lucy is still in the process of being transferred. They had a complete chance to rescue her, and now that they have the signal, they can track the man's location, but now they can't get in touch with Roberta. What should they do? Missing this opportunity could mean Lucy would be taken by Zona. Addie rode her motorcycle past a crossroads when a horrifying scene unfolded before her. A ball of zombies gnawing at each other rolled past Addie. Thankfully, they didn't notice her. Otherwise, dealing with this group of zombies would have been quite troublesome. Soon, Addie arrived at a gas station littered with zombie corpses, indicating the man had also been here. Addie prepared to search for clues. First, however, she needed to deal with the zombies. In just 2 rounds, Addie had killed the zombies. Then, around a corner, Addie found the man's car, but inside, there was no sign of the man, only a doll Lucy had brought with her. Next, Addie discovered tire tracks ahead, confirming she was on the right path. So, she immediately rode her motorcycle in pursuit. Quickly, Addie made another discovery, a pickup truck parked by the roadside. Touching the hood, she found it was still warm, indicating the vehicle hadn't been abandoned long. At that moment, a roadside zombie caught Addie's attention. On closer inspection, the zombie's hand was pointing in a direction. Addie realized that Lucy was manipulating the zombies to point her in the right direction. Meanwhile, at the Northern Light Base, Citizen Z, through monitoring, found Roberta's location. To convey the information provided by Doc, Citizen Z decided to personally find Roberta, so Kasky flew a jet with Citizen Z to Roberta's location. At that time, Roberta was scouting the terrain outside Murphy's base. A direct attack on the heavily guarded base would be disadvantageous. Therefore, Roberta decided to first sabotage Murphy's power station. 10K, sent on a solo mission by Murphy, stumbled upon Roberta's Red Hand, who were amusing themselves with zombies. Using his scope, 10K observed but unexpectedly made eye contact with Roberta. Frightened, he quickly hid. Then, 2 zombies casually passed by him. Due to 10K's half-zombie nature, they ignored him. After the zombies passed by, 10K cautiously poked his head out, and in just a few seconds Roberta had already disappeared. Rushing to catch up, 10K reached the corner only to be ambushed and knocked out by Roberta. Lucy sat on an oil drum surrounded by zombies, not frightened but playing a match-throwing game with them. Addie, following Lucy's direction, arrived and discovered Lucy playing with matches, but seeing a sign ahead, Addie froze. The ground was covered with the flammable substance methanol. Frightened, Addie rushed over to knock the match from Lucy's hand. Lucy was overjoyed to see Addie, and they hugged each other excitedly. Yet, Lucy seemed to want to continue playing with her zombie friends, so she ran off to play a clapping game with a female zombie. Addie stood speechless as a few zombies eyed her menacingly. However, because of Lucy, they did not attack Addie. Then, Addie urged Lucy to leave quickly, fearing trouble if the man returned. But Lucy didn't want to leave, wishing to play more with her zombie friends. Hearing this, Addie was speechless, threatening to kill all the zombies if Lucy didn't leave with her. Lucy, upset but determined, decided to leave with Aunt Addie. Just then, the man returned. Addie immediately confronted him, fighting despite Addie wielding a weapon. The man easily countered. As Addie was getting overpowered, Lucy couldn't stand by and unleashed a sonic attack, sending nearby zombies into a frenzy. They had no choice but to deal with the zombies while continuing to fight. But it wasn't long before Addie was knocked to the ground by the man, who then started threatening her.
You let her go now, and I won't kill you.
Seeing methanol on the ground, Lucy had an idea. She lit a match and threw it, creating a firewall in front of the man. Lucy found the right time to escape immediately. Addie also slowed down at this time. She got up and ran towards Lucy's direction, but Addie could not run far before the man blocked her way again.
You could make your life so much easier for yourself right now. Just walk away.
I could say the same thing for you.
Why is she so important to you anyway?
I don't know. Maybe it's got something to do with her being the savior of humanity.
Just then, 2 zombies leaped from the ship, leaving Addie with no choice but to go inside. Unexpectedly, there were even more zombies ahead, forcing Addie to escape back onto the ship to avoid them. At this moment, Lucy, noticing the man was gone, jumped out and then saw an arm lying ahead.
Lucy! Don't eat garbage off the ground.
Just like that, Lucy was taken away by the man again. Now, Addie was trapped inside the ship by a group of zombies. To make matters worse, flames followed the rope and reached the ship where Addie was. In just a few seconds, the entire cabin was engulfed in smoke. Luckily, Addie found an exit and managed to escape from the yacht. Addie hadn't run far when the yacht behind her exploded in a massive fireball that shot straight into the sky. Having escaped, Addie was ready to continue her pursuit, but a severed hand in front of her stopped her. Addie was stunned upon seeing it, but in the next second, the severed hand began to guide Addie in a direction.
Lucy, you
brilliant blue little devil.
Doc was biking down the road with 3 zombies trailing behind him. Suddenly, Doc witnessed an incredible scene. A fire-breathing sports car approached him. Before Doc could react, the car door opened.
Come on, man, get in! I don't know, man. Won't that mess up the space-time continuum? Yeah, man, that's the whole point.
After hearing this, Doc prepared to park his bike, but when he looked up, the scene had vanished. After pondering for a moment and taking off the marijuana from his ear, Doc realized it was a hallucination from the drugs. Doc tidied himself up and continued on his bicycle. Before long, Doc also arrived at the port and discovered the marks left by Addie. It seemed he was in the right place. Suddenly, Doc was shocked by the scene before him. A severed hand was waving at him.
When the zombie arm tells you to go north, you go north.
On the other side, Roberta had caught 10K and interrogated him about Murphy's plans. But 10K, already corrupted by the virus, had lost all human consciousness and refused to speak about Murphy's plan. Suddenly, Roberta finds a note in 10K's pocket that says "Take Roberta alive." Enraged, Roberta instructed Sun May to inject the experimental zombie virus antidote into 10K. Sun May immediately refused, explaining that 10K's body was already hosting several viruses and another injection might be too much for him to handle. But Roberta, blinded by anger, decided to inject 10K herself. Just as she finished vaccinating 10K, a severed hand was thrown out. When Roberta looked up, she found Murphy standing in front of her. Seeing that Murphy was alone, one of Roberta's underlings raised his gun to shoot, but in the next second, he was shot in the head. It turned out, just minutes before, Murphy had attacked the Red Hand base, disarming his followers. Roberta, unfazed, scrutinized Murphy, his suit and polished shoes, the blue skin on his face slowly fading, and his white hair made him look even more dashing. It seemed Murphy was living a good life now. Murphy then declared that his Blends empire was complete, not only brightly lit but also with endless food. He persuaded Roberta to join. In this world, humanity was failing, and the future would undoubtedly belong to the Blends. As expected, Roberta refused. She wanted to live freely, something the thoughtless Blends could never understand. Now, with Murphy in control, a single command from him could doom Roberta. But, seeing Roberta as a former teammate, Murphy decided to give her one more day to consider. Then, Murphy coolly left with 10K. Seeing the strength of the Blends, Roberta did not give up. She was determined to take down Murphy.